Welcome back to a bit gamey and supposedly quick showcase of the 1 hour war games Marlborough project and what I think about it. Now that I've got the British and Allies up to the right amount, quite a distant view because they're fitting it all in. You can see on a small table the 10 units that you want or need for 1 hour war games. On a small table, you can see it takes up quite a chunk of the space. And so if you had all of them together with the opposition on the same table, they'll be starting off at musket range. But that doesn't matter because you don't have the full 10. You roll a dice and you get a random 6 of the units. So there's 4 Line Infantry battalions, 2 special battalions, which in the Marlburian thing is I'm doing the Grenadiers and Guards, but in the 1 hour war games rules it's the light infantry, and 2 cavalry at the back there, and 2 guns on the left. I did this because the French Napoleonic units, for me, I needed them to be like 24 to 36 figures, and that's too much for the small table. And so I decided that I was going to do, for 2 reasons. I was going to do horse and musket, either Marlborough or later 7 Years' War, and because there's these cheap, relatively cheap warlord plastics with 24 figures in the box, and you can just about, using kit bashing, turn each sprue. They come in 2 sprues, and with a bit of kit bashing you can turn them into 12 figure battalions, which are okay. The figures all are okay, but they get a little dull overdoing a lot of them. So I mean, my suggestion would be to add a few metals in to just for variety, and I've got a bunch of front rank figures for that mostly. But yes, so in general it's good. I mean, I'm quite happy with how it worked out, because the 12 figure battalions, because of the extra, because of the flag density, basically, the density of the flags makes up for the relatively few figures for me personally. And I've also, because I've done it so that there's 3 figures from each of the wings that can be taken off as casualties. Not sure if that's a good idea or not, because they fall over all the time. But that's the current idea. So you could just glue them all down to the you could glue them all down and it would be no different. And I did them in on the, if you're doing the 1 hour war games, you don't need to have them in bases. You could have them all in one. In one block. I wanted to be able to do the line to column. So overall, as I say, if you mix them in with a few metals, I'd say this is pretty good. And you could do, if you've got a small table, this is a reasonable way. I mean, a reasonable way to do small battles. What was I going to say? Yeah, so the cheap Marlborough figures, some metals to change for the variety, and you don't need generals in the 1 hour wargame rules, but I do, because I like them. One, because I was thinking if I might end up doing, making them bigger, but mainly just because it's fun. I'd say doing the command bases, even if they're not going to be actually any use in your games, is worth doing because it's just fun. and I've got a little one base general, just in case I can think of things to do in the rules. But anyway, so what I'm saying is, using these plastic warlord figures to, as a substitute for Napoleonics, if you've got a small table, is a pretty good deal, I think. The only problem with it that I have is I like light infantry, and they don't really come into the game until the 7 Years' War, roughly. I mean, there's kind of militia type Jaegers and Panzers and stuff, especially on the border with the Ottomans. But the kind of professional light infantry, are mostly sparked largely by the colonial empires, so like France and Britain in America, which kind of come to the fore in the 7 Years' War. So my suggestion is, especially shift it into a imaginations type deal, where all these wars, the War of Spanish Succession up to the 7 Years' War, are all crammed together. You basically just jumble them all up, and that way you have the what I did for this early period of having Grenadiers, a Grenadier battalion and a Guards battalion as the special units, and just have some light infantry as well, and there's change the way the units are rolled for, and have both. So basically use these cheap Marlburian infantry as if they were in the 7 Years' War. The uniform probably didn't change that much. But anyway, so basically I'm saying it's a success because I want to buy more. I'm not hankering for Napoleonics anymore. I'm just I'm hankering for the whole period, from War of Spanish Succession, War of Austrian Succession, War of every bagger succession. And yes, and this will be my my way, my alternative way of doing French Napoleonics, horse and musket period stuff. Using the royal plastics as the kind of baseline, and then having little bits of smatterings of specialist figures for the bits that don't fit, and use these Marlburian figures for the 7 Years' War as well. Anything else? Okay, I'm not at all sure of the of having them loose, the 3 loose figures, because it's a major pain in the neck because they fall over all the time. Oh yeah, one of the things about that is the you can get 2mm bases or 2mm trays for these figures, and they fall out a lot. And you can also get 3mm trays where they're basically chunkier. I don't know if you can see that. The bases are chunkier, and they don't fall out quite as much. I mean, they still do fall out, but originally I got the 2mm bases, but I tested afterwards, and 3mm is slightly better. Yeah, so I don't know what I'm saying. The Marlburian figures are worthwhile if you're broke, or if you have only got a small table, then using the Marlburian figures and just treating them as 7 Years' War is, to me anyway, it's perfectly fine. Anything else? Yeah, it's good. It worked out very well. Or rather, I'm going to need to test it in various battles to see how much the loose figures bothers me. And but yeah, good, worked. Okay, to it. And a quick note on storage: you can get a really useful box, 9 litres, can go get 4 of these warbase tray things, and you can get with these 12 figure battalions. You can get I don't know if you can see that. That's you know, is that there? I can't see anything. Yeah, so that's everything falls over. So yeah, you can get one battalion in a row, and you can get 4 basically. Oh, I don't know if you can see this. Oh, you probably can't see it. But anyway, just take my word for it. You can get 4 of these 12 figure infantry battalions in one tray. So as you can say, you can get the 4 infantry in one tray, and because they're on roughly the same sizes, you can also get a cavalry battalion in the same way. So the point being, you can get 4 infantry in one box, and you can get 2 infantry and 2 cavalry in a second box, and you can get the 2 artillery and the generals in a third box. So with your really useful box, that's you can't see, sorry, but anyway, you have what I'm saying is you basically have one box spare. After doing that, you can, so you've got 4 spare units that can go in the same. So this is a British and Allies. That's 3 trays, 3 of these trays, and a 4th one spare. So you've got enough room for 4 extra units if you want, which for me is, you know, there's a couple for the light infantry and maybe some more cavalry. Yeah, so it's, you know, it's just because one of the things I do miss about the Napoleonics is some of the cavalry, because these Marlburian cavalry are relatively dull, and so I'm going to get well, eventually I'm going to get some light infantry for that 4th box, and some French Napoleonic cavalry that I'm just going to pretend are, you know, from the same period. So French cuirassiers and Polish lancers or whatever it might be, and just add them to the mix. Yes, so that's another good thing about this these smaller units, is that you can fit more of them in the box. That's it really. Okay, 2 bit.